Hello, my name is Cami, and I am a certified health and wellness coach for executives. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, just so that you'll know, but I want to make it really clear that the coaching is not about me, but I'll get into that a little bit more. So I used to be at IBM. I helped several Bay Area tech startups really get to their next level, usually from about the C round of funding, helping them get to DEF. I was responsible for a lot of developer relations, lots of things having to do with tech. And ended up at IBM, and I actually decided to retire early from IBM because I knew that I had a calling to help people really get to their highest level of thriving. And I have a professional experience of having reached all of my professional goals several times over. And I've done that in the context of some pretty tough circumstances. So if you know me at all, you'll know that I had some really hard things that happened in my childhood and in my adult life. And so I have the experience of being successful in the context of not having certain things going my way at all. And I learned so many interesting and helpful and effective ways to navigate these experiences. And I also learned by looking back, by getting to a certain point and then looking back and doing some retroactive analysis. You know, what was at play? What tools was I using, even if I wasn't totally aware that I was using them? And third component, so first component is I have had good professional success. Second component was I did that in the face of somewhat extreme adversity. And third component is that I have maintained my health and wellness. Like, I sleep at night and I have an amazing family life and I take my daily walks. I've been able to create the life that was very in line with my vision for my life. I've done that very deliberately, and I've had a lot of learnings along the way. I have songs that I wrote and produced and performed, and they're on Spotify and iTunes and all of those places. I have traveled the world. I have lived overseas twice. I've reached so many of my life goals. And so I guess I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to very quickly let you get to know me a little bit. So you can see, who is this person? What is she talking about? The second thing I would like to do right now is to kind of normalize the fact that I speak sort of slowly. I know that. I'm very aware of that. I try to fix that sometimes, and it's just never authentic to me. This is how I talk. And I have had, like in my MBA program, the dean, was he a dean? I don't know. The head of the MBA program once said to me that he said, "You smile too much for Indian men." Okay. I once had someone say, "Gosh, I wonder if she can run 2 sentences together." Like, okay, tell that to my PhD program. I had people in tech literally tell me, "Speed it up. Like, I don't want to keep waiting for you to complete your thought." And at the time, it bothered me to get this kind of feedback. And now I see it even as one of my strengths, because what I find when it's a good fit, it has to be a good fit, which is why I'm even talking about this right now, is when it's a good fit, being able to slow down, being able to really think as we're speaking. You notice I don't say I just let there be quiet. I have found, and I am finding, that my clients start to calm down. Like, the more they can kind of tolerate the lingering in a moment, the contemplation, even if there's some discomfort within them, to the degree that they or I or any of us can sort of tolerate that kind of discomfort, it can actually help us calm down and be less reactive overall. It teaches us patience, and it helps us to carve out our own path in life. So I have found over the years that it's this natural way of speaking for me is actually a strength. It's something that my clients benefit from. But I just want to normalize. If you are standing on your last nerve listening to me, then find a different coach. And I'm just using this example as an empowerment for you to find the right fit for you. So that's the second thing I wanted to just bring to the surface. The third thing that I wanted to talk about today is, I told you earlier a little tiny bit about my life trajectory and things I've learned and done. But I recognized I'm a sample size of 1. And I don't want to try to replicate whatever worked in my life try to replicate that with other people in their lives. That, to me, that's just not, it's not appropriate. And I found the little tiny bit that I tried to do it, very little, but I tried early on, early days, I tried to replicate, and it doesn't work. That's not actually what coaching is. Coaching is not about the coach. Coaching is about the coach's training and techniques. But coaching is about the client. And so I actually got fully trained, certified in coaching. How to do it, what it is, how to use motivational interviewing, how to apply positive psychology, how to help the client tap into a growth mindset, how to roll with resistance rather than kind of buck up against resistance. And that can really just kind of stop things. There's a reason that we have resistance. And so when we try to tackle resistance head on, resistance usually wins, especially in the long term. And so I underwent, and I'm still, I do ongoing training. I'm a lifelong learner, but I underwent extensive training in how to coach. Specifically, what to say, how to say it, how to ask questions, how to do reflections. So I am a certified health and well-being coach. I work with executives. I work with people who are ready to make a change. So it's okay to have resistance, but it doesn't work if what you really need is therapy, And you can be in therapy and do coaching, but coaching doesn't replace medication. It doesn't replace therapy. It doesn't replace some of these other things that sometimes people need. So I work with people who are already at a certain level of functioning, but maybe they recognize that there's one or two parts of their lives that maybe have fallen away because they have needed to focus on one or two other parts of their lives. For example, I work with people who feel like they're kind of firing on all cylinders, and they realize they don't have any built-in capacity. If something were to happen, if there were an illness or a death or loss of a job or something serious, they would have no capacity to deal with that. And so they recognize that they need to somehow find the wherewithal to build in capacity. I work with people who are actually pretty happy with how things are going. So this was kind of my case. I was happy with how things were going. I was, there a few times over. But I knew that I had this other calling, and I knew I needed to follow that. And, so sometimes I work with people who are in that situation. And there's just a lot to sort out when you're in that situation. So then another thing that I wanted to convey to you is what you could maybe hope to get from being in coaching, especially this kind of coaching. It's long-term, it's kind of intense. We talk at least once a week. There are these other components to it. It's a thing. It's a whole system I've designed. And you could learn things like how to not rely on willpower. How willpower is pretty much spent, definitely spent by 5 p.m., but sometimes spent by noon. And we cannot rely on willpower. And there are ways to replenish your willpower. There are ways to bypass willpower. There are ways to harness willpower for some things and then not need it for other things. Another thing you could consider is how to systematize and automate certain behaviors to turn them into habits that are leading towards your vision. And it's your vision. Another thing you could hope to explore and experience in coaching is learning how to roll with resistance. I kind of hinted at that earlier, but not only roll with resistance, but listen to your resistance and listen to what it might be trying to tell you. Sometimes resistance comes in because there's this other value, there's this other part of our vision or something that hasn't made its way to the table yet. And even when that's not the case, even when it's just plain old resistance, maybe it's laziness about something, we can still roll with it. We don't have to try to fight it head on. And so in this kind of a coaching relationship, you can get very specific about how to work with your own resistance. Sidestep it, harness it. You can learn how to keep more of your energy for yourself by avoiding decision fatigue, by even breathing a certain way, by communicating a certain way, making certain kinds of decisions, keeping more of your own energy within yourself so that you don't feel tapped out and you don't feel like maybe you're about to get burnt out, you're not quite sure. No, you don't have to feel like you're on the cusp of burnout in order to be a successful person. This kind of coaching can help with decision, not so much decision justification. That was one of the concepts that I dealt with a lot in tech. It's not justifying a decision. It's, let's call it decision exploration, decision facilitation, decision freedom, and clarity. And you can do this in a way that you'll then be able to implement your decisions and move on and have peace. Let's see, was there anything else? I think that kind of covers it. I went through a little bit about who I am, normalized that you need to find the coach that's right for you. I talked a little bit about the techniques of coaching, mentioned that I am certified. I have at least 2 numbers after my name that are like, they're not called licenses, but it's my identifications within the coaching world. I talked a little bit about what you might enjoy as a result of a coaching relationship. So I think that's enough for now. I hope that answers some of your questions. The invitation for you to consider is to see whether you think this kind of coaching might be the right move for you at this time in your life. It is a significant investment of time and money and energy, and you do need to be ready. So it's not for the faint of heart. But I just wanted to put this message out there in case it resonates for you, I can take on a limited number of new clients. And if you would like to continue the conversation with me and learn more about what this kind of coaching could mean in your life, then I would say apply for the program. It's gentle, so the word gentle without the E's, but that's also an acronym, and it stands for Guided Natural Teaching for Life. And we can explore really all aspects of life: work, health, family life, relationships, habits, patterns, goals, dreams. Yeah, because, we're multifaceted, and there's so much that tends to interest us, and we have a limited time alive. So we tend to want to make the most of it. So if you're interested in furthering the conversation, please apply for the program, and then we can kind of take it from there. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to maybe talking with you. Bye.